So I want to talk about a subject that I think is kind of important because I've been seeing it a lot lately. The main concern when it comes to these false flags is that we are not being shown proof of death. Okay? Whether it's children dying in a school shooting or a twat waffle shooting in Timbuktu. The problem is we need evidence. They tell us a situation went out a certain way, it went down a certain way, and there's too many problems with that situation, so we believe something else, or we have questions to that authenticity. And why it's so important we need proof on these false flags is because if people are lying, especially if they're lying about children dying, well, that's a very harsh crime, I believe, in society, and people need to be punished for it. Okay? But just like we need proof of death, when there's people talking about people being alive that are supposedly dead, we also need proof of life. Okay? And this is why I want to bring up that subject, because I've been seeing a lot lately. JFK Jr. is alive. JFK is alive. This person's alive. That person's alive. And that may be very well so. But before we adapt it as a belief, we need the evidence. We need to go after the evidence, okay? We show the inconsistencies, but we also have to go after the evidence. So if, when it's a case of a death, we can dig up the grave. That would be proof of death, that body being there, that DNA evidence matching up. With life, we have to prove that person's alive, and proof of life is simple as, well, here's the person alive. So make sure you don't fall down one of these paths without making sure there's proof, and don't accepting it as true until there's proof of either or, death or life. I don't believe these school shootings because I haven't seen proof of death. Okay? I don't believe these people are alive because I haven't seen proof of life, actual evidence. You can have inconsistencies, and that can be considered evidence towards a certain direction, but actual proof is what's needed. And this is why we continue to go after these false flags and the people involved in them, because we have to make sure that what they're telling us is true. And as far as what we've seen, they're unable to prove what they're saying is true. And the same thing with the life, that these people, if they're supposedly alive, well, there has to be evidence that proves that they're alive. And it seems to be that there's less evidence of these people, like JFK Jr. or JFK, being alive than there is evidence proving that these false flags are bullshit, that there are no children that died. Okay? So, gotta be careful there, because the CIA would love for us to be jumping down these rabbit holes so that our story gets undermined. Remember this. There were groups of conservative, straight-laced people in colleges in the 60s, early 60s, against the Vietnam War. Even college professors. Well, the CIA couldn't have that because people might actually start listening to them. So they created this hippie movement, okay? Which totally, love hippie, here's some flowers, and all kinds of crazy dancing and LSD. Totally undermined the actual anti-war movement that was going in the right direction. They are going to try to undermine the truth movement. So we have to be even more careful of these new theories that come out, because we don't know what they are. Especially if you got like shills like Q or Anonymous or Jason Goodman or any of these bastards coming out with this shit. You gotta be very extra careful when you see that stuff, because you don't want to be led down that rabbit hole and totally discredit everything in any research you yourself may have been doing. So be careful. Remember, it doesn't matter if they're dead or alive. You need to have some proof. And we're not seeing either for either.